Well, we're here with our guest this week on the All Things Blues and Southern Rock podcast, and we're very happy to have him. He's very probably our most well-known guest here. So, as usual, I throw it over to Jason to tell the listeners who we have with us today.
We are very honored and happy to have Chris Robertson of Blackstone Cherry with us today. How you doing, Chris?
I'm doing good, man. How y'all doing?
We're doing good. We're doing good. We just want to get right into this new record. Now, this I want to make sure I understand. This was made during the pandemic, or did you guys start it before then?
We started recording. I want to think it was like very end of February or right beginning of March. So we were in the studio as all the restrictions started to come down and everything.
So did that add like a different kind of energy or a different kind of like any sort of a triumphant feeling, like making a record, under those circumstances, or was it kind of like this, similar to the others?
I think there was a sense of the unknown, of who knows what this thing's going to turn into or what it could be. And I don't think any of us thought that it would be, this long with,
Right.
the world still being pretty much shut down for entertainers. But man, when we're in a studio, I kind of shut the world off. I don't really watch TV. I don't listen to the radio. I don't do anything. I just kind of get into this weird headspace, and it's just studio and nothing else.
Mm-hmm.
And so I didn't quite get it. I didn't understand the full scope of it until we had been out of the studio for about a week, and I had to end up going to a store to get some groceries. And I was like, this is the weirdest shit I've ever seen in my life. You can't find anything, man. And, it was odd, and then it kind of became the reality. And then, while we were finishing the last couple of days in the studio, we started getting notifications that shows were being postponed and moved. And, here we are all these months later, and we've been able to do two socially distant shows since March.
And that's what we were going to ask about that too. Like, what was that like, or how'd you feel about that?
Man, it's been the weirdest year of my life to have something that you've done for so long just be taken away from you with no restart date being solidified. Certain states are opening back up and they're having some shows there and stuff, and it's it's still weird. I mean, even those shows, they don't feel like shows.
Mm-hmm.
I filled in for the Kentucky Headhunters. Greg, that plays with them, wasn't able to go out one weekend, and I went and filled in for him at a show. And it was amazing to play some live music again, but it was still an odd thing, with the way everything's been so far.
Different, like looking out at the crowd and there's not quite as many people there.
Well, no, it's just like it's odd because you would have clusters of people that there was no social distancing, no mask, no nothing.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's people that are kind of staying to themselves and wearing a mask. And we were in Tennessee, and Tennessee's a state where they've kind of opened the doors back up and done their thing. And but it was weird to see a bar full of people, where all the staff were wearing masks, and some people in the venue are wearing masks, but some weren't. And it was weird just to see how divided people are in general, on the whole thing. There's really no right answer to what you can or can't do,
right,
as far as entertainment goes, because you've got half the people in the country that are begging for it, and half the people that are saying no, don't do it yet. And man, I've got people in my family that are are very ill and having to take chemo and stuff like that. So I worry about the weakening of their immune system if I'm exposed or anything. Man, but it's crazy. I never would have thought I would have gone. The last show we played before we did those two shows was February. I don't remember the exact date, but it was just a few days after Valentine's Day. Best I remember, we played in Dallas. I think for the PBR, and it was amazing. And then we come home and the world shut down. So here we are.
although that was a Kentucky Headhunter show that you played on, you know, what did you feel? And as far as like the band, was there any kind of like, you know, they're coming to see us, was there any sort of responsibility, like, well, all these, you know, the people that weren't distancing, or, I mean, it's certainly
Man,
not their fault or anything, but
no. You know, it gets back to, you have to let people make their own decisions.
right.
And, you know, the beauty of this country is the freedoms that we have. That,
Mm-hmm.
you know, I've been very fortunate to travel a lot of places, and it makes me very grateful to live in the country I live in.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and that's no knock to anywhere else. I just, you know, when you're used to certain things, you're used to certain things, you know. And I think that's what's been hard for Americans in general is, you know, a lot of times people saying, well, I'm not wearing a mask because this is, you know, America and I have freedoms. Well, you're not being asked to get rid of your freedoms. You're just being asked to look out for the person next to you, you
Yep.
know. And that's the thing for me, man, is like, you know, this year has been difficult on everybody, and especially, you know, it's financially, but mentally, I think it's taken a toll on a lot of people. And, you know, a lot of people will grab at, you know, I don't want to wear a mask, and I want to go out and do these things because it's my right and I'm free. And they're 100% right, you know, but at the same time, a little bit of compassion goes a long way in trying to help a problem that's much bigger than any of us in our mask are,
Right.
you know.
Yeah.
So for me, that's the thing, man. So that's why it's odd to me, you know, like, trust me, I want to get back to normalcy as bad as anybody. And that little bit of normalcy of playing, like, the socially distant shows to me are the greatest way of doing things right now, in my personal and professional opinion, because, you know, everybody has to wear a mask the entire time. And then, you know, when you get to your pod with your group of 3 or 4 people, then, you know, you're with those 3 or 4 people. You're not with a bunch of people. And I really like that setup of concerts, given the current circumstances of the
Mm-hmm.
world.
Yeah. Well, talking about like the toll,
Yeah.
the stress that the pandemic's had on people, um, you have a song on the record called "Push Down and Turn," and you know, I've read some previous interviews with you, and I just wanted to say you're very courageous to talk about, you know, the stigma of mental health, especially with men. You know, and I have generalized anxiety, depression, and
Mm-hmm.
I take meds as well, so I really identified that with that, and I really want to thank you for speaking
Hey,
out
dude,
about that,
you know,
and just if you can talk about how you think, you know that those mental health, you know, these issues that they play in with, especially with the pandemic on top of it.
yeah, man. I mean, for me, it's been one of the hardest years of my life, you know. And I think that's where that song came from. You know, those lyrics were written toward the end of last year, beginning of this year, and that song's really introspective, man. You know, it's really kind of a day in the life of me, honestly. You know, um, it's difficult, you know, especially, you know, like I said, in a year like this, when you have lived a certain life for the last 19 years, and all of a sudden, in the blink of an eye, and with, you know, one kind of, you know, press release or press conference, my entire career is put on hold.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And that is, it's fucking hard, man,
Yeah.
because you're sitting back and you're going, not only is this my only source of income, right? Like, the only thing I do in life is Blackstone Cherry. Like, I record bands and stuff, but, you know, that's not really a way to make money for me, because I invest so much time in what I do that, you know, I end up making pennies on the hour a lot of times.
Right.
But that's fine, because I love creating awesome music, and I love being able to if a band wants me to help, you know, try to guide a song and we all love it at the end. And that's cooler to me than making, you know, big money on a project. But, you know, man, when you have that, it almost feels like not only has the performing side of it been taken away, but it starts to eat away at the creative side as well.
Mm-hmm.
Because for me, man, like, I can sit and play guitar all day long, but I'm, you know, I guess being a live musician has made me a little bit vain or something, where I crave, you know, I crave that reaction, whether it's just a smile or somebody flipping me off because they don't like what I'm playing.
Right. You're a performer. That's what you need. You need the feedback.
Dude, like the feedback of it is what is the biggest part for me, man. You know, like that's why I love being in the studio. I love playing live music because, you know, that feedback is essential to an artist, you know, and it's been a year without it essentially, and it sucks. I mean, it is 2020 has been the biggest pain in my ass. You know, just in general, you know, and I know I'm not the only one. It's
right. I think everybody's going to agree about 2020. I don't think you're going to dissent that.
Yeah, if anybody wants an opinion on 2020, just listen to Steel Panther's latest song. Sums it up nicely.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
By the way, I dig y'all shirts, man. I really like those guys.
Yeah, we do too.
You mentioned helping out other bands, so I know you produced their record, and those
Southern Governor.
Those guys speak highly of you, and and I got the record. Well, I got it on CD, but digging them, totally.
We interviewed them a couple of weeks ago.
Right on, man. Yeah, they're good dudes. We did that several years ago, man, and we've always tried to work together again since. But those dudes are up in Virginia, and I'm in Kentucky, and then I'm always on the road. And then the 1 year I'm not on the road, nobody is really able to do anything. So, you know, it is what it is. But we talk a lot over text and stuff, man.
Yeah, I heard you sold an SG guitar too to him.
Yeah, I sold. Patrick's got a couple of guitars that used to be mine. I sold him.
Yeah,
I had a white 65 SG that he plays a lot, that he does in their videos and stuff. And then also there was an 82 Les Paul Custom that's kind of tobacco burst that he picked up.
Oh, nice.
So yeah, he got more than just the SG off of me.
Hey, can I go back real fast to the mental health portion real fast, Chris?
Yeah, man.
So one, there's two aspects of this, and it's really good that you guys are getting back on the road and playing, and other bands are too, because I think it helps you as performers for that mental health piece. It makes you guys happy, but also for the fans who are locked down, and it gives them a little bit of hope, a little bit of reprieve from all this crap that's going on. So I just want to thank you guys for going out and getting some shows and doing things responsible for everybody.
I appreciate it, you know, and they're not easy decisions to go out and play shows right now or to not, but ultimately, you know, if people feel safe enough to come out, then that is 100% their choice. And, you know, for those people that do come out, I agree. It's, you know, maybe the only one concert they'll get this year. And it's, you know, I see it on people's faces when we do get to do a show. There's such a release of energy and emotion that people have needed to let out for, you know, basically a year at this point. Yeah. And it's, it really is a beautiful thing when it works right, man.
Mm-hmm.
So also, you know, getting back to, you know, there's a couple other people that gave you a shout out. I know that, you know, and that's, you know, we had Tyler Bryant on, and I know you did a string of dates with them, man. And he spoke highly of you, and also the Georgia Thunderbolts that we had on. You know, obviously there's a little more of a deeper connection there with, I bet it's John's dad, you know, really took them under his wing.
Oh, absolutely, man. And, you know, dude, Tyler Bryant, that dude is one of the just nastiest guitar players on the planet. I mean, you can't say that enough about him. And the whole band are sweet dudes, man. We did those shows with them, and, you know, we kind of hit it off like family just from the get-go. And then the Thunderbolt kids, man, I call them kids because, you know, I'm a good 10 years older than all of them. But man, it's so cool to see, you know, another generation of just good Southern rock and roll. And I'll be damned if Richard didn't find them again. You know what I mean? Like he's got a knack for good Southern rock, in my opinion, you know, picking us Thunderbolts, and it, you know, man, it's, and I know our new record's, you know, heavier than Family Tree, but it's still as Southern as it gets, man. I mean,
hell yeah.
You can't pull that shit out of it. You know what I mean?
No.
And that's the great diversity.
We'll talk about that new record.
Yeah, dude. That's
where I was going to go.
No worries. We did Family Tree. And for us, we just wanted to make a record that was, when we did Family Tree, we were so tired of just like, you know, doing the same kind of shows we had always done. And we wanted to do a record that was a lot of fun and would potentially open the door for us to go tour with different artists and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And it absolutely did. You know, we ended up going out with Government Mule and
Yeah.
doing shows with Chris Robinson and King's X and a bunch of bands we'd never got to tour with after we did that record. And man, it was one of the most fun records we ever made. But you know, when we went in this time, the only thing we knew was that we wanted to be a little more aggressive and just kick it in the ass a little harder this time, you know, as far as sonically goes and the just the energy of the songs. You know, and a lot of the songs on this record are more personal and deeper lyrics. Just like I said, dude, when we did Family Tree, we were literally having the time of our lives, you know, going out and playing shows and doing 10-minute jams like Skinner and the Allman Brothers and Led Zeppelin.
Government Mule.
Yeah,
Black
dude,
Rose.
you know,
yeah.
Like we would break into a jam in the middle of a song for 5 or 6 minutes and then go back into the song. And it was so much fun. And we will always keep elements of that in who we are because it's become a part of who we are. But, you know, we just wanted to kind of just make a record that every song said something and, you know, that it would compete with, you know, sonically and the intensity of anything you put it up against. And for us, man, it was just turning the amps back up a little bit more, you know, and just letting out some of the stuff, you know, that we hadn't in a while. I mean,
yeah,
you know, it's inherent when you make a record that is, you know, such a fun record as Family Tree that, you know, the next time around, there's going to be some other emotions that come out. And, you know, Push Down and Turn is a great example of that. When Angels Learn to Fly was another song, you know, that was a direct result of a family member passing. So this record, man, is a very heavy record. And I don't mean that just in the sense of, oh wow, it sounds heavy, but lyrically it's heavy, man. You know, like there's songs on there that really speak to a great deal of different things to go through, you know.
Well, it's great the diversity that you guys have. You can't really be put in any kind of category. You know, your hard rock, maybe even metal, southern. I mean, it's just great to have that diversity, and I really appreciated that Family Tree that you guys did that rootsy thing, but I love this record too. It's very diverse, and honestly, and I mean this from my heart, it's second only to folklore and superstition for me because that's the record where I fell in love with you guys. But yeah, Human Condition is just fantastic. I love it.
Thank you so much.
Totally.
I sincerely appreciate that, man. You know, we self-produced again, you know, like we did on Kentucky and Family Tree, but this time, man, we took just a totally different approach to the production, and we brought in Jordan Westfall, who tours with us live and does our monitors and kind of handles the stage patch and all that stuff. And you know, we brought him in as an engineer because he had so much studio experience. And his experience, you know, ranges all the genres, but where Jordan, you know, really shines was he had recorded a lot of heavier stuff, you know, and we knew we wanted to bring, you know, elements of that into the sonics. So having him was just, I mean, the guy he's invaluable. You can't put a number on what he's worth to us, not only, you know, as an audio guy, but just as a person. I mean, he's become family, just like the four of us and all of our other crew guys.
Yeah. When I listened to this album, I was surprised, but surprised in a good way because I'm an old school metal guy. I'm sure I'm doing a Southern rock podcast. I love Southern rock music, but I was like, wow, heavy, aggressive, a lot of energy, but just a good album at the same time too, man. It's good stuff.
Thanks, man. I sincerely appreciate that. You know, Jordan ended up mixing the record and being the executive producer on the record as well. He had so many great ideas. And, you know, from the minute we walked in the door, I knew that because it was between me and him to mix the record. I mixed Family Tree, Jordan mixed the new record. And we walked in and, you know, about 2 days into it, we were listening back to sounds and I was like, no, Jordan needs to mix the record. You know, he's the guy bringing the sounds into the system and he understands this style of mixing so many light years beyond me that it just made sense, you know, and I'm so glad that the record came out the way it did and that he mixed it. And It just, I couldn't be happier with this record, honestly.
Yeah. So when you're doing more of an aggressive or heavier album like that, what is the emotional outlet like different for you guys when you do it versus maybe a rootsier album like your other one?
Man, like on a record like this, obviously the music lends itself to just let out, stuff. But for me, like Family Tree, a lot of emotion in that, My Last Breath is probably that one, and Dancing in the Rain were probably two of the most serious songs on the record. And there's emotion there, but on that record, man, for me it was more, the emotion was expressed more in the playing and the music than the lyrical content. To where on this record it is the music and the playing, but it's also vocally and lyrically, there's a lot of emotional stuff on it.
Mm-hmm.
I know we got a limited amount of time here, so we wanted to sneak in a couple of gear questions.
Yeah, man.
Jason, you want to tell them about Andrew's question?
Yep. So from one of your fans, somebody by the name of Andrew from some band called Them Dirty Roses is asking, Are you still using Helix pedals?
Man, so I used my Helix for about 3 years, and I recorded both of the Black to Blues EP with Helix, and I recorded Family Tree with Helix. I'm currently not using it, and I just grew to a different sound that I was hearing that I wasn't able to get there. I still have it, still think it's a great unit, but now I am using a Kemper, and what I did was I profiled my studio rig while we were in the studio. When we were finishing up, I was like, let's leave everything set up on the guitar channels. Let's not touch it. I ordered a Kemper so we can get all these rigs. And we ended up, I think that was the other people calling. Sorry. But I ended up profiling my rig, and it was a Splon Super Sport 22 with a 66 basement cabinet and mic'd up with a 441 and a Fathead microphone.
Wow.
And then also you've been playing Lucky Dog guitars, I believe. Is that out of Tennessee?
And to tell us about those.
So, dude, I've become great friends with the guy. His name's Anthony Sims, out of Cleveland, Tennessee. And man, he makes Telly and Strat style guitars,
Okay.
But they are just friggin' amazing, man. Like I literally, before I remembered the Zoom call, I'd been in there playing one of them that I just restrung, a Lucky Dog Evangelist. And man, it's just, I don't know, I've always loved Fender guitars, and Fender makes some absolutely fantastic guitars, but there's something special about what Anthony does. And, they're just not your average run of the mill guitars. There's an attention to detail, and, it's him and one other guy building the guitars, and it's all from the ground up, from blank pieces of wood. And, I really love what he's doing. And I love the kind of guy he is. He's a world-class human being and a world-class luthier, man. And, his guitars are world-class. So
yeah,
you get those three things together to me, man. And I'm proud to support and, play some of those guitars.
Lucky Dog Guitars, listeners. Check them out.
Yeah,
all right,
man.
Chris, thank you so much for coming on. It means a lot to us. I mean, we've just been going since July. We're a small podcast, so
no worries, man. I'm sorry it took me so damn long with the stuff.
No,
but my other interview's calling, fellas. I'm gonna have to let y'all run.
All right, man.
Thank you, Chris.
Thank you, Chris.
Thanks,
Stay
y'all.
safe. Thanks.
Yep.